Pecha Kucha 264, Inktober 2021, week 4. So last week I said this week I'd have a plan to get back on track. Did I? Monday was great. The rest of the week not so much. I'll kind of break this down in depth, but not too much depth because this shit goes deep. This is the story of my life in the space of a week, right? So I started off with the idea, instead of drawing one big picture like I did with Dragon Ball Z that took 4 to 8 hours, I'm going to draw a fuck ton of little pictures and I'm going to gestures, and I'm going to just try and figure out, specifically in this instance on Monday, Ryu from Street Fighter. How do I want to draw Ryu in a manga way? I haven't figured out how I want to simplify my faces, and Ryu's hair is something I'm experimenting with as I go, as well as how masculine his face is. I really want to give him defined mouths and chins and noses, but that's not really the way you should draw manga characters. Unless it is, of course. Looking at Fist of the North Star might not have been the greatest thing. So after doing a lot of headshots, I was like, well, let's go for some kind of body language gesture things. And let's do a lot of them so I don't have to commit to any of them with any real sense of, commitment. And after doing, roughs, I then inked with the turnip pen, which is a thicker pen, which I think is perfect for cartooning. I really should just do cartoons with it and leave all this other stuff alone. Then I did some G pen cross hatching, and then I came in with a layer of airbrushing using the texture I discovered when I was doing the Fist of the North Star stuff last week. I always go way too dark when I use values, but really I was just trying to obfuscate or hide the quality of the artwork, not what I'd call leaving me with a positive psychological position at the end, which I realise is one of my major problems when I make art. So Tuesday was Ken, Masters, Street Fighter. I just wanted to use a brush that was more forgiving, so I got the chalk brush out and I'm like, let's just draw some pictures of Ken and then let's ink them in a way where we're turning up the manga-esque, which is to say turning down the actual details. I did a lot less of these than I did of Ryu because I'm continuing my fizzling out. This is pretty much what I did for the week, and then it's about how did I end up in this position. One of the major things is I'm not posting any of this stuff anywhere. Like I did in the last 2 years, I don't have a daily upload schedule because I don't really want to be fucking with social media. I think it's very toxic, but I can't get where I want to go without negotiating it in a way that I protect myself and is somehow still playing to the algorithm's strengths. Even YouTube over time has become toxic. Like, there's a lot of political agenda news media stuff, and the way that Joe Rogan is being cited to support everyone's position on everything is a perfect example of the stuff in my feed I don't necessarily want out, but it's not helpful or conducive to my well-being to have in. But the flip side is sometimes I get recommended things like Adventure Time, and I saw a lemon grab montage and I'm like, this is fucking so excellent. Adventure Time is the best cartoon I've never seen a full episode of, and I love the art style, I love the production value. Some of the characters have these incredibly deep backstories. There's the volume, the depth, and the quality of Adventure Time is more than I can explain, but this is kind of why I don't want to just turn my YouTube feed into an echo chamber of the stuff I already like. Something I haven't spoken about this month is I've also been policing my gaming habits. For the first 10 days when I was doing the Dragon Ball stuff, I really cut down on my gaming, and I was kind of paying myself the gaming to stay off of social media, and because I felt like that was the most productive thing to do. And something I definitely haven't spoken about is one of the things that made me stop wanting to do the Dragon Ball level of quality is I've been suffering physical pain as a result of the stress that high quality work puts me under. It's not the physical act of drawing on my Cintiq, it's a psychological feedback loop caused by my inability to process emotional stimuli. I've read books on this. Effectively, this is how I got rid of my repetitive strain injury in 2020. So I know that this shit's not bullshit, but it only works if you understand that everything else has to fail. Basically, your subconscious, the part of your brain that controls bodily functions like heart rate and digestion, fucks you over to protect you from panicking and having a legitimate mental breakdown over the situations you're in during your life, high stress situations. And when I look back on my life, specifically at when I was doing my old boy project in university, which was the most ambitious and hardest thing I've ever done in my life, I got sick. And I got an ambiguous illness where I just felt nausea non-stop for 2 fucking weeks. It was awful. And I'd assumed it was based on something that it turns out it wasn't. It was probably just stress. I did end this week drawing on paper with a mechanical pencil, and the lighting's fucked on this because I was drawing really light and I can only clean up so much using Photoshop filters. So I drew a massive A3 picture of Ryu and tried to just iron out the details. I did find it somewhat cathartic, but I really need more knowledge, more reference, and I need to add more of that in to what I do. And then I just did some kind of little thumbnail things on the side because I need to decompress and I have to figure out how to decompress. I've been gathering a lot of data about who I am and how I work this month, and I think it's been very valuable, and that it's going to continue for the next year while I do this manga book. So when I was compiling a couple of these Dragon Ball images to think about where I stand on this quality of work and what I want to do with it going forward, I realized the mistake I made this week was effectively trying to take the easy way out. The best thing for me to do is to commit to one image until I'm in a place where I actually look at it and I'm like, this is undeniably good. The problem is it takes fucking 5 times as long as I'd like it to take, but I think it's the only way to get where I want to go. Reference needs to be a part of that. I need to build a psychology of productive reinforcement and psychological reinforcement where I get positive feedback for doing good things, because I'm very negative. I'm very hard on myself and it doesn't help me. And gaming is the easy way out in terms of like dopamine release and stuff like this. You can't lose at gaming, so gaming feels like the thing I want to do all the time. And it's also because it's the thing I've done all the time, mostly for the last 20 years, around jobs and all the rest of it. I think I'm going to be in a better place next week. Famous last words. I don't want to ramble on too much, so that's the end of Pecha Kucha 264, and I will see you next time for some higher quality work. Just a lot less of it, I suspect.